then the moment that they get up, they attack the football. Should be terrifying to most teams, because if they can think that way, they can cause some mistakes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Bills. I'm just gonna say it right now. The Bills are my pick to go to the Super Bowl for the AFC.
Mine as well, as of right now.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's more games to come in. There's that daunting Pat Mahomes. But the Bills, to me, are Josh Allen should be the MVP. And they are an overlooked 13-3, now 14-3. And teams should be worried.
It should honestly be 15-2 if it wasn't for that Hail Murray. I mean, that's a ball that can go either way. That's a 50-50 ball. That could have easily gotten swatted down and gone into the back of the end zone and game over.
Right. Anyways, yeah, Bills escaped the Colts with a furious comeback because they were down 14 in the fourth quarter for a 3-point
I mean, that's typical Phillip Rivers. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And bold prediction for next season, Phillip Rivers is not an Indianapolis Colt. Phillip Rivers retires.
That's not a bold prediction. That just seems accurate.
Well,
Phillip Rivers' memoir is "I Almost Won." That's the title of his memoir. I almost won.
My bold prediction is that Carson Wentz is their quarterback next season.
Okay. I mean, I kind of disagree with the way that they went with Doug Peterson, but that's fine.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that during the offseason. Let's get into the second game of the weekend. Second one, that was the Rams Seahawks. This one, in my opinion, was the shocker.
It was baffling.
It was.
That was my word for the game. Baffling.
30-20 isn't even representative. It was 30-13.
Yeah, well, it wasn't
at the end of the game.
It wasn't
basically.
even remotely that close.
Yeah, I had said if there was going to be one team that blows out another team, it would be the Saints blowing out the Bears. I was wrong. It was the Rams blowing out the Seahawks, and it's embarrassing. It was not good. If you're a fan of the Seahawks, you should be hiding your face, man. They're not. That was not good. Russell Wilson looked average. DK Metcalf, I don't even. They need a run game and they need a defense. That is what they're lacking. Their defense historically, well, I shouldn't say historically, over the past 10 years has been ranging from above average to stellar when they had Cam Chancellor and Bobby Wagner was, he's still there. But Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, when they were on that team, KJ Wright, that defense was insane. This defense is a shell of itself and really looked below average for what I expected from them. The Rams, on the other hand, they looked pretty fucking good. Cooper Kupp is great. Jared Goff is playing some of the best football, or he did. That was a great performance by him. Their defense played really well. I think honestly in this game, the only factor is the Rams defense. I mean, even with Aaron Donald going out, you're talking about a team that was constantly getting home all the time. And even if they weren't getting to the quarterback, they were disrupting constantly. And it put Seattle in a very uncomfortable situation the entire game. Russell Wilson, let alone Cook, he couldn't prep for anything long enough to be able to do anything in that game. And there was... I don't know. It was limited fire from Seattle, and their defense was exposed. Okay, you have Jamal Adams, but what else do you got? I will say, if there's one team that I look at that's in the playoffs that played this past weekend, the one team that, if I'm a team I feel good about all around how the team played, it is the Rams.
Well, they played as a very good all-around team. I think it also helps that Cam Akers has finally come into his own and they've recognized his talent and he's finally gotten a feel for everything. But listen, I've seen this the problem I have with this Rams team is the fact that, yeah, you can feel this way this week, but we know damn well that this Rams team is completely sporadic. This is a Rams team that lost to the Jets late in the season, okay? So
yeah.
If they start to stumble, it can get bad.
And it very much could. But they're definitely a team to watch out for after this win. I'm not saying that they're a favorite. I'm saying that's a team to make sure you pay attention to. They played good all-around football against a decent team.
Yeah, spoiler alert, they don't make it out of this week.
Yeah, spoiler alert, no way.
It's not happening. You're telling me a team from LA is going to go into Lambeau and win against the Zeus of quarterbacks? I don't think so.
If they were like one season removed from being in Missouri, I'd say, okay, they're used to the Missouri weather. Maybe.
Yeah, but no. LA, different story, different animal. I just, it's going to be a tall task.
It really will. And we'll talk about that in the second half of the show. But the third and final game on Saturday was the Buccaneers-Washington football team matchup. And I will say, very impressed with the way that Washington played. Obviously, they were overpowered, overmatched. But they
gave a fight.
They did. It's something to build on for next season.
Absolutely. I think Washington's trending in the right direction. I think that they need to do more. One, they need to get a name. Second of all, they need to actually shore up a few things. But that defense is for real. They play with a passion, and I mean they're going to be a good team. I mean, their record doesn't reflect it because the NFC East was so bad and there's so much turmoil this year. But that being said, they're moving in the right direction, and I don't know. I think it was part Washington's ability to play hard, but I also think that Tampa Bay is not as good of a team as people seem to like to make them to be because they have Tom Brady. Yeah,
I agree, and just to reiterate how good this defense is, anytime I hear anyone talking about the defensive players, they talk about Montez Sweat, they talk about Chase Young, they talk about Ryan Kerrigan. I completely forgot Daron Payne's on the fucking team.
Their defense is stacked. That defense is stacked.
They got Landon Collins.
They're going to be a problem for years to come.
Yeah, that defense is nuts. The offense didn't play too bad, considering, let me just check. Oh, yeah, Taylor Heineke was their fucking quarterback for the game.
The guy that was the fourth string this year.
Yeah, he was a backup in the XFL, starting a playoff game. Crazy.
Give him all the credit in the world because he played his ass off. He played himself into a backup role right now.
A couple of the players tweeted something about him. I think it was Terry McLaurin. I think it said something along the lines of whether he's the starting quarterback or not. This is a guy I want on my team. That's leadership. So he showed the heart and the passion with what he was doing. So I mean, by all means, good for him for seizing the moment. I mean, it was a Herculean task to try and do what he was trying to do. And, I mean, Tampa has made no secret that they went out and they got as many pieces as they possibly could to make their season as easy as it possibly could. And I still think that's going to catch up with them. Yeah, they brought in Antonio Brown. They brought in Rob Gronkowski. They brought in Leonard Fournette. They clearly were like, all right, we can build cheaply to a Super Bowl. Speaking of cheap, Dan O'Shea is joining us right now. Dan O'Shea, how you doing?
I am good. How are you guys?
We are good. We're just talking about the Washington football team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, and how we were impressed with Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, he looked good for a backup to a backup. Well, one that completely lost its job by being a moron, but he was impressive. He was trying hard. He was diving for extra yards.
He got hurt, came back.
Yeah, he made that game fun to watch.
Yeah.
Obviously, Alex Smith probably would have given them a better chance, but he stepped up for a backup. Is he a rookie?
Technically, yes, but he was in the XFL last season.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, the XFL is pretty fun. I went to a game. I'm hoping to go to more once things are back to normal, and they were playing hard.
Yeah, I enjoyed the XFL a lot. We've got about 10 more minutes before we need to go to break. We got 3 more games to get through. So let's move on to the Sunday games. The first one was the Ravens-Titans. This is a game that I, again, was wrong on. I thought Derrick Henry would just run all over the Ravens, and instead he just ran all over behind the line of scrimmage.
I think Wink Martindale said that their plan was to hold Derrick Henry to under 90 yards, and they held him to like 40. It was an unbelievable defensive effort to contain him.
Yeah.
I would like to say this is exactly what I was talking about when I was saying that Baltimore's recipe to win is to to stop Derrick Henry, force the ball into Tannehill's hands, make him make the throws. Yeah, he's going to make throws, but he's never going to light up a scoreboard if it's all on his back. He needs to have that threat of the running back behind him, and when they removed that from Derrick Henry, it became a problem, and it's just a matter of time before Baltimore was able to get the points that they need on the board.
Well, that and Lamar is a cheat code. I mean, the Titans were doing a pretty good job defensively against them, and then Lamar just runs for a 40-yard touchdown. And it's just as soon as he gets up to speed, you're not touching him.
No, well, the problem is Lamar is exactly what you're saying. Lamar is if you created a guy in the old school NFL or NCAA footballs, and then you just put all of your stats to 99. Like you had a 99 kicker rating, but your guy was never kicking.
Yeah.
I will say one thing. I should have known this, and it's not that I didn't necessarily know this, but A.J. Brown, dude's awesome. He's so good.
Oh, yeah, he is.
He's so good. Game.
They have a good 1-2 punch and receiver in Tennessee with Corey Davis and A.J. Brown. It's just, again, Tannehill is serviceable. I just don't know that he's a top echelon. I mean, I think you're talking about a guy who's in the middle of the pack and might even become the next Andy Dalton.
I think A.J. Brown has solidified himself in my mind as a legitimate number 1 receiver.
Oh, legit number 1.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, definitely.
Then they have Corey Davis, like you said, who actually was held without a reception, but they've also got Anthony Ferkser, who came alive in the playoffs last year. They've got Jonnu Smith, who's a solid enough tight end. So they have decent players around Tannehill, but that was not a good performance.
No, but I think the Ravens knew what they were doing. I think they knew what they were coming into. I think they knew that they wanted redemption from last year. They came in with a solid game plan for them specifically, and took it personally. And everybody did what they had to do and let plays happen as they happen. The same thing with Lamar, because Lamar, that wasn't a designed run. He just accepted what the defense was willing to give him, and once, like Dan said, once he got up to speed, it's hard to take down a guy who doesn't lose speed when he does a juke move.
Yeah, that is insane, the things that he's able to do. and he's got a tough task doing it next week. So we'll talk about that in about 15 minutes. But let's move on to the Nickelodeon game. Did you guys watch the Saints-Bears on Nickelodeon? Because it was hilarious.